So far on this channel, I've spent 8 episodes analyzing Japanese television shows. Today, I want to do something different. I want to talk about a Japanese animation series, one that, even now in 2026, you have probably heard of but maybe never actually watched. It is called Attack on Titan. In Japanese, Shingeki no Kyojin. It became, quite simply, one of the biggest cultural exports Japan has produced in the past 2 decades. And there is a strong chance that the version of this story you have heard does not include the parts that matter most. Because after 30 years writing for Japanese television, what fascinates me about Attack on Titan is not the story on the screen. It is the story behind the screen. Today I want to tell you 5 things about Attack on Titan that almost no Western fan knows. 5 facts hidden in Japanese language sources, in industry, interviews, in the unspoken workings of the Japanese animation business. By the end, I hope you understand not just why Attack on Titan is great, but why it could only have been made in Japan by these specific people in this specific moment. First, the basics. Attack on Titan began as a manga, written and drawn by Hajime Isayama. It was serialized in Bessatsu Shonen Magazine, a sister publication of the famous weekly Shonen Magazine, from 2009 to 2021. 12 years. The animated series ran across 2 production studios. The first 3 seasons, broadcast from 2013 to 2019, were produced by WIT Studio. The 4th and final season, broadcast from 2020 to 2023, was produced by MAPPA on NHK General TV. Those are the facts you can find on Wikipedia. Now, the 5 things you probably did not know. 1. The studio that made Attack on Titan was, when the project began, a brand new company nobody had heard of. WIT Studio was founded in 2012, just 1 year before Attack on Titan launched. It was started by Tetsuya Nakatake and several producers and animators who had left a more established studio, Production Y. The company famous for Ghost in the Shell and Psycho Pass. They wanted to make a kind of anime their old studio could not or would not make. Attack on Titan was their gamble, their first major work. The studio's reputation was, at that moment, entirely tied to whether this single project would succeed. Imagine being handed one of the most ambitious manga adaptations of the decade as your studio's debut. That was WIT Studio in 2013. The world we now know, Attack on Titan as a global phenomenon, only happened because a brand new studio decided to gamble everything on it. 2. The studio that made the first 3 seasons was bleeding money to do so. Here is something most Western fans never hear. WIT Studio produced one of the biggest anime hits of the 2010s, while running a financial loss on the project itself. In August 2022, at a shareholders meeting, WIT Studio's founder Joji Wada was asked publicly why the company had given up Attack on Titan. His answer, in part, addressed the difficult truth that their production capacity could not match the publisher's required delivery schedule, and that producing Attack on Titan at the quality fans expected was costing the studio more than the revenue brought back in. This is a quietly tragic dimension of the show. The reason so many episodes look so beautiful, the reason the action scenes feel so dense and so alive, is partly because the studio kept spending past its budget, season after season, to make them that way. 3. The handover from WIT Studio to MAPPA. The moment so many Western fans noticed and complained about was not a betrayal, it was a rescue. When WIT informed the production committee that they could not continue Attack on Titan into Season 4, the publisher had to find another studio. According to WIT's own public statements, dozens of studios were approached. Dozens turned the project down, citing the impossible difficulty of taking over a long-running, beloved, technically demanding series mid-flight. Only one studio said yes, MAPPA. MAPPA's stated reason was simple. They believed Attack on Titan deserved to reach its conclusion for the fans, and they would carry the responsibility of finishing it. WIT Studio themselves publicly said MAPPA was the right choice. Western fans who hated the style change, the famous shift in how the lightning of Titan transformation was drawn, for instance, were watching one studio's last-minute decision to save a project the rest of the industry had refused. 4. The author of the manga, Hajime Isayama, openly said the anime improved on his original work. This is extraordinarily rare in the manga industry. Most original manga creators feel protective of their work, and many publicly express concern about how anime adaptations differ from the source material Isayama did the opposite. He has stated in interviews that director Tetsuro Araki and the WIT Studio team produced a script, idealized in a way I could not have achieved myself. Isayama actively shortened arcs of the manga's later sections, admitting his own pacing problems, based on lessons he learned from the anime adaptation. For an original creator to publicly say, "The anime is better than what I wrote," is, in Japanese manga culture, almost unheard of. Isayama's humility and his trust in his anime collaborators is itself one of the reasons the final product feels so unified. 5. The Music You Cannot Stop Hearing was written by one of modern Japan's most important composers, who almost nobody outside Japan has heard of. The soundtrack for Attack on Titan was composed by Hiroyuki Sawano. Inside Japan, Sawano is a giant. He has scored Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, Kill la Kill, Tokyo, Ghoul, and many other major modern anime. His music has a very specific character. Powerful orchestral pieces blending with operatic vocals, often in Latin or constructed languages. The opening themes of Attack on Titan, the famous song Guren no Yumiya, you hear in Episode 1 are part of this larger Sawano world. If you only watch one Attack on Titan trailer, listen to that music. Then look up Hiroyuki Sawano. You will find a discography that has been quietly shaping how modern Japan sounds for over a decade. So why should you watch Attack on Titan? Because the show is a perfect storm of 5 forces, each rare on its own, almost impossible to find together. A brand new studio willing to gamble its entire identity. A studio willing to lose money to maintain quality. A second studio willing to take on a project nobody else would. A manga author humble enough to credit his collaborators publicly. And a composer whose music alone could carry a film. These are not the things you see on screen. They are the things hidden behind the screen that make the screen possible. Attack on Titan is not just a great anime. It is what happens when an entire industry, for once, aligns its best people, its best risks, and its best instincts around a single project, and then keeps that alignment going for 10 years. Few projects in the history of Japanese animation have ever been so fortunate. This is what 30 years inside Japanese television lets me see when I watch Attack on Titan, and this is what most Western recommendations miss. If you have not seen it now, you know what to look for. If there is another Japanese show or anime you'd like me to break down next, comment below. See you next time. This was Keizo TV. Please subscribe.